today's going to be an exciting art talk. So I think we'll just get right into it. So if you went to, I think it was the corner of 6th Street and Broadway in downtown LA today, you would see a old surface parking lot. You know, there's many of those in downtown LA. If you, it wouldn't be particularly distinctive, but if you went there maybe about 10 years ago, you will see on the one wall what is in my background. It says parking, and you see there's a girl on a swing.
Yeah.
Okay. That is an original Banksy. So Banskys appear and then they go away. And so this was kind of one of those things that Catherine was into it back then. This was over 10 years ago. And she kind of turned to Liz and myself, and I think her godmother was also, Jane was also with us, and said, we have to drive to downtown LA. Why? Because we have to go see a Banksy. Why now? Well, because it might not be there tomorrow. So that's exactly what we did. All right. So Banksy is an anonymous, and I think is still anonymous. I'm not sure if anyone really knows who he is. English-based street artist. Some called him vandalistic since the 1990s. His unique version of street art kind of combines dark humor and graffiti with distinctive stenciling. And it usually had a social or political commentary, and they were featured on streets, walls, the sides of homes and bridges throughout the world, and still somewhat of a mystery to everybody. But Sarah is going to unravel that mystery for us. Over to you, Sarah.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm personally a huge fan of Banksy, and so I'm really excited to talk about some of his work. As AJ mentioned, his identity still is totally unknown. He's from Bristol in the UK, and that's kind of where he got his start. And he's known for bombing certain public spaces. So he uses the word bombing to say, you know, where he's done his art. So he's bombed everywhere from Detroit to Barcelona. And he rarely does in-person interviews, but he has done some before, but he always wears a paper bag over his head. So, yes, he even has a company. I think it's a group of his friends that have created, you know, a legitimate company that not only, what's the word I'm looking for? It not only validates his art, but they act as protection for him when he's actually doing his art. They make sure that nobody goes and purposely tries to uncover his identity. It's called Pest Control. Is the name of that company. So as AJ mentioned, Banksy has a signature stencil style that he familiarized himself with earlier in his career, and he was drawn to it because it was quick. You know, when you're doing street art, it's technically against the law, so you got to be in and out pretty fast. And he found that stenciling was you know, a quick way to get the job done. And also his stenciling style was used historically to start revolutions and end wars, just that kind of imagery. So because of, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with some of his works, but because of the social and political commentary that his pieces make, I want today to be more of a discussion, and I'll pull up some of his different more famous pieces, and then we can talk about it. So this first one, let me close my camera. This first one might be recognizable. It is titled Girl with Balloon. And he started this series in 2002, and then he's done them all over the world. So this is just one of the the stencilings that he's done. So this painting was sold for over $1 million, which was a Banksy record at the time, at a Sotheby's auction in 2018. And shortly after the sale goes through, the picture is shredded by the frame that Banksy had custom built it in. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now for a YouTube video that shows him, It
was partially shredded.
Right, partially shredded. So there's that link. Highly recommend you watch. It's a quick little video of him and how he built the frame so that it shreds perfectly. And it's just, he posted a photo when it happened with the caption, going, going, gone. So it's almost a statement as like, you know, this was one of his most famous paintings that sold, and he shredded it. You know, it was almost a commentary on that. But the ironic thing about that is that after it shredded, they say it's probably worth more like over 2 million. And so here's a picture of the shredded version, which is now hanging up. I'm not sure where it's hanging up right now. But yeah, what do you think about this?
Where does he knows who it is? Where does the name come from?
I read something about it. So he started out, it's kind of just a street name. So he started out, when he started doing street art, his street name was Robin Banks, Banx, kind of like robbing banks, but Robin Banks. And it was too long. So it just formed into Banksy kind of naturally. He thought it was too long of a name. That's where it came from.
So it's Banxy or BA?
No, the X became KSY. Banksy.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a very common English name contraction, is to add a SY on the end of people's names as a familiar.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, we're gonna have to ask you later. How would you add that to your last name?
You wouldn't. It wouldn't work with mine, but it does with you've got a hard consonant on the end.
Interesting. So 1.4 million for a self-shredded piece of art. Was that right?
Right. And they say after it's shredded, it's probably worth more like something over 2 million.
Wow.
Which is
So
ironic.
did the person who purchased this, did they know it was going to be shredded, or?
No. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. It was like a stunt.
It was a very famous story. Like, I think it was in the paper or something.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I highly recommend checking out that YouTube video.
Yeah, there it is, shredding.
It's very, anti-art, this idea that we put a monetary value to art, but what does that even mean? And why is some art valued at a certain price and others at a different price? You know, it's really interesting.
So what does he do with the money?
Should I do
I don't know, actually.
He buys more protection.
You guys are missing the whole point of this exercise. You're supposed to be talking about how the art makes you feel and what you think about the commentary that he's making. Not asking random data questions.
It's not about
enjoy the mood, the emotion.
Did you forget lunch, John?
I'm just saying. She's being very polite, so I'll push her back on track for her.
What I like about it is since he's like a street artist, and like selling his art in Sotheby's sounds like the least street thing you could possibly do. So he's kind of like taking it back.
Exactly.
But what I like,
which is why he shredded it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I like the fact that it looks like it's actually in the process of being shredded right by the frame. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it actually looks really good.
Uh-huh.
Well, a lot of his art is only temporary, like the one in my background, right? At some point, it got painted over.
Exactly. I also like the very fancy decorative gold frame. Looks very old, very, kind of classical art. And then you have this like shredded piece of street art in it.
It's so
juxtaposed. Great. So this next one, you will recognize this face, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Steve Jobs.
Steve. Yeah.
Yes. So Banksy did a couple different works of Steve Jobs, and he used it to highlight the refugee crisis. And the original piece was done in Calais, France, which is a refugee camp with hundreds of people living in tents. And in a statement with this work, Banksy said, quote, "We're often led to believe migration is a drain on the country's resources, but Steve Jobs was the son of a Syrian migrant. Apple is the world's most profitable company. It pays over $7 billion a year in taxes, and it only exists because they allowed in a young man from Homs," which is the city he came from in Syria. I actually didn't know that until I was looking up this piece. And then I can show you where this piece actually is. You can see in the kind of center left corner. You can see it's on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of just this interesting, I find his art is often just so juxtaposed.
When I first,
Also like the one before, like this idea of class and money and how his art kind of plays into that.
when I first saw it, it reminded me of the fact that Steve had spent several years in India, you know, basically on the streets. You know, it was looking for enlightenment.
Right. Yeah. Great.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. And this next one, I think it's so cheeky. It's called Spy Booth. And it's a telephone booth outside the UK's government communications headquarters. Pretty self-explanatory. And it's you know, what I love about it is he's kind of, you know, making a joke about it, but it has very real sentiment behind it. You know, the idea of, you know, the government's listening. This actually became a really popular tourist destination to take photos at. Unsurprisingly, but
Great.
Yeah, because she looks like a photograph almost.
Right.
And they obviously are not. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so he's always, you know, finding a way to make some sort of social or political commentary. And then this last one I want to show is more recent. This is actually, he recently posted this on social media. And obviously, you know, we're all staying at home, staying safe. And his caption to this was, "My wife hates it when I work from home."
Perfect.
And I love it. Just look at the
I just
detail,
love that.
right? Look at the, he went through,
Angular and oh, wow.
exactly. And you can see he even went through the detail of that, the rat on top of the toilet paper roll, and, you know, he unraveled it just to show that it's like the rat is running over it.
There's a rat hole at the bottom where the toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
I like the one at the very top right.
I like the one counting days in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit of each rat in all of us, isn't there?
Yeah.
Counting the
Oh,
days.
tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. He often uses rats as subjects for social and political commentary. And I was reading just a little bit about it, and the idea of like rats as political imagery and the different kind of ways they've been used as for social and political commentary. So he loves using rats. So as you can see, he's got a bathroom full of rats.
The detail in this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He has an Instagram account which has so much art on it. It's beautiful.
Right. Yeah, he's great. I love his work. There's a documentary that came out in, I want to say 2010, 2012, that he produced it. And I believe there's a part that he's in it, but obviously he had the paper bag over his head. But it's all about the life of a street artist and kind of what it means to find fame as a street artist, and how it's kind of ironic, you know, in a way, because the whole point of it is it's very like it's the anti-art of art.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm pulling up the name. It's called Exit Through the Gift Shop. And it was made in 2010. I believe, let's see, can we find it for free?
I think I've seen it on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix? It might be on Netflix. I'm not seeing where you can watch it. Oh, I think you can buy it on Amazon or something. It might be on Netflix for free.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, highly recommend watching it. It's really interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
When was do you know when the last sighting of a Banksy was?
It was this one,
Oh.
wasn't it?
This one probably.
Yeah, this was the most recent one he posted, but obviously this is inside his own home. Let's see. Recent Banksy.
You really think that's his house?
He posted a new one where a kid is playing with action figure, but the action figure is actually a nurse. So if you
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one. That's so interesting.
It's a beautiful one.
We're talking about
yep, it's like Superman and no, sorry, not Superman. Spider-Man and Batman are just lying in the bin, and he's playing with a nurse.
Oh, I see. Let's see.
It's beautiful.
Pull this up really quick.
You're a nurse.
Can I see? Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can pull this up for you all.
Of the ones he's done that are actually like in public places, do you have any idea how many are still there?
I don't. They kind of come and go. I think now at this point, if it is a certified Banksy, I feel like people would want to keep it up. But you know, that's the kind of ebb and flow of street art, is it comes and goes and it gets painted over and they just kind of pop up out of nowhere one day. I don't know how many are
still. Isn't there of like some jobs worth from the council comes along and paints it over, thinking it's just standard graffiti.
Right.
Everybody goes, "Oh my God, you just destroyed a work of art."
But it's interesting. It's like, why is Banksy street art so? I mean, sure, it's got political and social commentary, but I'm sure you could say that about other street artists that get painted over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But everyone's become so infatuated with him, which for a good reason. I think he's a genius.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of multiple levels of creativity in what he's done.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think partly the mystery of not knowing who he is.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. And the detail and texture of his work is just, it's fabulous.
Are there words on the collar of this kid's shirt?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it might just be some stitching, some.
Looked like the word something love is what it looked like.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry, the thing kind of cut off the wall, but yeah, you can kind of see the gist of it. Yeah, well, I hope you were able to expand your horizons of what art is and what art means.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's been great. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Great.
Thanks.
Appreciate this.
Of course.
We're
And
all going to have to be on the hunt for a Banksy.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Be on the lookout now that you know kind of his style. You'll be able to point it out.
Right.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.
Well, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Great.
So, what do you think?
That's nice.
Great.